November 17th, 1995. The survivor is Morris Migdal. I'm Jackie Liu. The interview is taking place in Brooklyn, New York, USA, and it will be conducted in English. Today is November 17th, 1995. The survivor is Morris Migdal. I'm Jackie Liu. The interview is taking place in Brooklyn, New York, in the United States, and it will be conducted in English. Okay, what is your name, please?
My name is Morris Migdal.
And how do you spell?
Migdal.
Okay, and what name were you born with?
I was born in Zarembe, Kushane.
Okay, where is that?
This is a little town not far from Białystok,
Okay, and what country?
Poland.
Okay, and when you were born, did you have a different name?
No.
No? Did you have a Jewish name?
My Jewish name is Moshe.
Okay, and when were you born?
I was born September 18, 1912.
Okay, so how old are you now?
Now I'm 82.
Okay, and what was your father's name?
My father's name was Herschel Migdal.
And your mother's name?
Is Goldie Migdal.
Okay, what was her maiden name?
And the maiden name was Widrau.
Do you know how to spell that? W-O-D-R-A-U?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you tell me all of their names?
The first one was Belcher. He got killed in 1919. He was in the Polish army.
And then who?
The other one is Avromo Migdal. He lives in France.
Okay.
Then was Sister Esther. In another brother, Benjamin. In another brother, Simon. In another sister, Adele. Then I come. After me is David Migdal in Chai Rochel in Ichielka.
Okay. And can you tell me about where you grew up, the village?
I grew up in Zaram.
Zaram?
Yeah.
That's Z-A-R-A-M-B-E?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that near?
What did you ask me?
What was it near?
Near Białystok.
Near Białystok. And can you describe it for me? What did it look like?
A little village.
What kind of house did you have?
We have a little wooden house, but it got bombarded during the war. It was burned down.
But when you were a little boy, can you remember what the house looked like?
The first house, it was burned down in 1918. So we had to move. We lived in a village. We lived for 2 years till we built up the house.
Okay, and where did you live for those 2 years?
These 2 years, it was not far from Zarum, a little village.
Okay. So tell me about the new house that you built.
And then we built it up, and then the war, in 1940, they burned it down again.
Okay, but when you were living in it, what did it look like? Do you remember?
It's we built it up a bigger house, but the time was so bad, we had to sell half of the house to have what to live.
So who did you sell it to?
Huh?
Who did you sell it to?
We sold it to another Jewish family.
You sold half of the house?
I have the house.
Well, how big was the house?
It was about five rooms.
And so both families lived in the same house?
Not in the same house. It was a different entrance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And, okay, can you tell me about going to school when you were a little boy? Where did you go to school?
I went to school in Zarum.
What kind of school was it?
This is I didn't go too much. It was no schooling that time. It wasn't organized good.
So did you go with in a Jewish school?
It was a Jewish teacher. Yeah.
And did you learn Jewish things?
No, we didn't learn Jewish. Jewish I learned in Chayda. And this was a school from the Polish government.
Okay. How many people lived in your village?
About 300 families.
300 Jewish families?
Yes.
And how many non-Jewish families?
It wasn't too many non-Jewish families. Maybe about 20. Yeah.
So it was mostly Jewish?
Not non-Jewish.
And what business did your family do?
My father used to have a horse. He used to go to the farmers to buy things, and he used to sell it.
Mm-hmm. And did he travel away from home a lot?
When I was young, no.
No, he was home?
No.
And did your mother work? Did your mother work?
Did my mother live there?
No, did she work outside the house, or
She took care of the house.
she just took care of the house?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have relationships with non-Jewish people?
Not too much.
No.
No.
When did you start to know that there were problems?
There is problems. Since I was born, we were divided with the Gentiles. Yeah.
Do you remember anything that happened?
Not necessarily. It didn't happen. Yeah. But this is the way we were raised, not to mingle with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you have any non-Jewish friends?
No, I didn't.
Do you remember any trouble between Jews and non-Jews?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. So tell me what happened to you.
And then when I got older, my brothers moved to France. So they sent me papers I should come to France.
Why did they move to France?
But they couldn't make a living there.
Mm-hmm.
There was no jobs.
Okay, so what happened?
Yeah. There was no jobs there.
Okay.
Then my sisters came, 2 sisters,
To France.
to France.
And you went there.
Yes,
Where in France?
in Paris.
Okay. And how did you get there?
By train, the international train.
When was it? When did you go there?
I came to France in 1930, in March.
Okay. So tell me about your life there.
About what?
Your life in France.
Life in France was not easy either from the beginning. You come to a country, you don't know the language, and you have to learn a trade. You have to work very hard. Yeah.
So what did you do there?
I was a tailor there.
Okay. So tell me about being a tailor.
And then the war broke out in 1939.
What were you doing when the war broke out?
When the war broke out, I was in Paris. And then when the Germans came into France in 1940, in 1940, before they came in, the radio advised everybody to leave the city. And we wanted to leave the city too. The whole family got together and said, what should we do? And my sister was pregnant. She was in the 9th month. They said, how are we going to leave her? In case she's going to, there was no hospitals, nothing that time. I said, what shall we do? So we decided we'll buy a truck and we're all going to leave. So we find a truck, then we couldn't get gasoline to leave the city. So we got stuck in the city. And we all moved into my sister's house. And a couple of days later, she gave birth to a little girl. And this saved us our life. For the reason a lot of people got killed on the way, they were running on the highways. They were bombarded.
Mm-hmm. So what happened after that?
After that, it started the real trouble. Then a couple of weeks later, they said, all the Jewish people, they got to bring the radios to, if you have a radio, you got to bring it to the police. Then they said, if you have a bicycle, you got to bring the bicycle to the police. Then they said that we could only go shopping between 12 and 1 o'clock, or only for an hour. And then they said we could only go out up to 8 o'clock in the evening. 8 o'clock, you cannot walk out from the house 8 o'clock in the evening. And then in the subway, you could only go in the last train. Then we have to wear the Star of David. And in a couple of months, a couple of days later, they sent postal cards that everybody has to bring for 2 days food, and they got to bring a quilt in warm things to wear. But my brother got a postal card, he went there. And my 2 brother-in-laws also went there. I didn't go for the reason, by coincidence, 4 weeks before, I changed my address. So this postal card came to the old address. I didn't go to pick it up. I figured I'll see what's happening with them. When they came to the police, they didn't let them out. They all were arrested, and they put them in a camp not far from Paris. They were in a camp. My brother was in that camp by 8 months. From there, they transferred them to Germany.
Okay, and so what happened to you at this time?
I went away from Paris.
Where did you go?
I went in a small town. I took off the Star of David, and I went to a small town for a couple of weeks till they quieted down.
How did you get to the town?
I went by train.
Did you have trouble getting out of Paris?
No, for the reason I took off the Star of David, I was able to travel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Then when I came back, it was rumors. Then they used to arrest you in the street. If you, it was very easy. You have a Star of David. You were a Star of David. From there, I decided to go to the other part of France. Well, they didn't occupy the old France. They occupied part of France. So I went and decided, well, the Vichy government was there. So I went there. On the way there, they arrested me. When I was already in the Vichy on the other side. They confiscated everything that I had, the money, all the papers. But I stayed there a couple of weeks, and then I ran away. I went to Lyon.
How did you get to Lyon?
I had a friend, when they lived in Lyon. They advised me I should do it. They sent me money. And I came to Lyon, and I stayed with my friends for a while. And then my sisters, they were while I was in Lyon, they sent me some money. I should have what to live. And in Lyon, was no good either. They arrested me in Lyon again. And they sent me to a camp in Rivesalt.
And where was that?
Rivesalt is not far from Perpignan, 5 miles from Perpignan. I was in that camp. That camp was all the Jews they arrested. They used to send them there. Upon there, they send them to Germany.
So tell me about the camp. Can you describe it?
The camp was terrible, terrible. For the reason we used to sleep on a floor, and the only thing is the climate was good. It was warm there. We were able to survive. And there was some hay. We slept on the hay. And this was with me. All these people, but they didn't have status to live in France. They were the first to go to Germany. With me, they told me they'll send me later for the reason I had status to live there. Yeah. And then I was there. This was by the end of 1941. Then they decided that they need that camp.
What was the name of the camp again?
Rivesalt.
Rivesalt.
Yes. They needed that camp. The Germans. They came in. There was a lot of Germans in Perpignan. They needed that camp for the reason there was rumors that the Americans going to come through the Mediterranean. This was very close to the Mediterranean. So it was a big change that time. And that time I had false papers already.
How did you get the false papers?
I got it through the mail. My sister sent me a package, and she made it that way. They couldn't find it.
Did they have a false name?
Yes.
What was the name?
My name was Vidal. Instead of Migdal, Maurice Vidal.
Oh, okay.
And then there was a big change in that camp. They needed that camp. So they wanted to send us in another camp, deeper in the country. So I used that time, and I went over to a guard, and I told them, I have false papers, you have nothing but to risk, let me out, and I said, I'll take care of you. I gave him some money, not much, I didn't have much. And he let me out. From there, I went back to Perpignan.
How did you get there?
It was a train, a local train. We could go there, from there to Perpignan. In Perpignan, when I came in, I got very scared. I saw only German people back and forth, and I picked myself up, I went back to Lyon. But Lyon is a bigger city, it's easier to hide yourself.
Let me just ask, were you able to communicate with your family back in Poland at this point?
No, in Paris.
No, I know, but your parents?
With my sisters. My sisters were there, my brother was not there. One brother was prisoner of the war, and the other brother was in Auschwitz. Now, my two sisters, one sister was hiding herself by a Gentile family. And the other sister, she had a young child. So they didn't, she was, on the moment, they changed the rules every couple of weeks. That time she was free, she was able to circulate. But she had to wear the Star of David. And I was connected with that sister.
And what about your parents?
My parents they were in Poland.
No,
They were killed. They killed them. All the Jews from that city, They took him. They told him they're going to take him. They're going to put him in a camp, and they fooled him. Instead of to put him in a camp, it was this little city. It was occupied from the Russians, and they made some kind of fortifications. So they put him in, all the Jews in this, and they shoot him, all of them.
So you knew about that already?
I didn't
oh,
know
you didn't know?
anything.
Okay.
No. I found it out after the war. Yeah. And then from Lyon, it got very hard to stay in Lyon, very hard. So I went to Grenoble. Grenoble was occupied from the Italian. And at that time, the Italians, they treated us very nice. They only wanted that you should register yourself on your real name. Otherwise, they'll take you for a spy. Otherwise, they didn't. We were free. We didn't have to wear the Star of David. But this didn't last too long.
Were you able to work?
I didn't. No, nobody wore a Star of David.
No.
But,
could you work? How did you support yourself?
I find a little job. My Italian man, a tailor. Yeah, I worked part time. Yeah, and then when Mussolini capitulated, the Germans came in, and they arrested all the Italian police, and they arrested whenever they could find. So I picked myself up and I went away from Grenoble. I went 15 kilometers from Grenoble, in a little town, a village. Over there, I rented a place and I stayed there, but I worked there. I find work. I used to go to the farmers and tell them I'm a tailor, and they gave me work. Yeah, this is the way I was able to exist.
And how about food?
Food, we used to get ravitaimo cards, you know. But some of the farmers used to give me food. They used to give me bread, they used to give me milk, eggs. Yeah, I didn't want money. I said, I gotta eat. So they gave me, yeah. I stayed there for a year and a half.
Did you get to know any other people there?
I got to know the people there. It was some other Jewish families around there. Yes, I got to meet them. We used to keep close in case of an emergency. We should, yeah. But nobody was arrested from that area. It was a little town near the Alps there. And it was a very good place to hide yourself. It wasn't on a main road, you know. And then in 1944, in July, I was liberated.
Okay. Okay. Let's go back to when you first started going out and hiding. Did you always travel by yourself? Did you meet people along the way?
Always by myself. There was always rumors, you know, people, they said, we are going to Grenoble, Grenoble is better, they don't touch the Jews there. When I hid, I picked myself up and I went there.
Okay. Let's go back to Paris. When you were in Paris in 1939, what was your strongest memory of knowing that you had to get out?
The what?
What was your strongest memory in 1939?
From there?
Right.
We were very scared. We know we expected the bedtime is coming. We expected it, and but we didn't expect it that bad. That they should take the people and kill them, and yeah.
Did you belong?
A lot of people from my friends, from the families, they didn't come back from Auschwitz.
In Paris, were you friendlier mostly with the Polish Jews that lived in Paris?
In Paris, I was friendly not only with, with Gentiles too. Yes. They were very liberal, very nice. They treated us very nice before the war.
And did that change?
It changed.
A personal way
Yes.
for you?
Yes.
Okay. When did you notice that it was
Well,
changing?
the Germans, they poisoned them too. They poisoned them.
Do you remember any specific things that happened that you knew that these people
in that time,
in Paris, yeah.
for instance, like what?
Let's talk about Kristallnacht.
Oh, Crystal Night, this goes back in 1932. We were very scared, very worried.
How did you hear about it?
To the radio. Yeah.
Okay. Did you know the families that were involved?
No, I met a lot of people, but they came from Germany after the Crystal Night. Yeah, I know quite a few families, but they came. They settled in Paris. Yeah.
So what do you remember changing after Kristallnacht?
After the Crystal Night, we were worried. It was a big change. And then in 1933, Hitler came to power. Yeah, we knew the bad time is coming for us.
Were you part of the Jewish community? Did you go to synagogue?
Yes, we did. At that time, all the people weren't big believers. For the reason, most of the immigrants were young people. They were very radical, and and I followed them. Most of them. They ran away for political reasons.
Did you try to get out of the country at that point?
During the war, when the war broke out, we wanted to go to Switzerland. It was impossible. You have to have a lot of money to go to Switzerland. Well, Switzerland was the best place to go, really. There was no Germans there.
Okay, we're going to stop for a moment.